leading up to her being born, it was like the dream, just the dream life.
Flashing back 5 years ago, the Hyders had it all. An almost 2-year-old beautiful boy and a baby girl on the way. Just a few days overdue, Laura went to her hospital in Shakopee to deliver on May 21st of 2011. Laura and Brett knew they were having a big baby, but even doctors were surprised at the scale. 11 pounds, 8 ounces.
Big, healthy, big baby, absolutely. Everything looked good.
When she was born, I remember the first words out of my mouth was, "Is she still a girl?" Because at that point, as ridiculous as this sounds, that was like my biggest fear, that like all of a sudden she wasn't going to be a girl.
Brooklyn was a girl, as strong as they come from the start. She was born with a golf ball-sized bump on her backside, something called a coccyx sacral teratoma, a type of tumor that develops before birth and grows from a baby's tailbone. Doctors in Shakopee immediately started communicating with specialists at Children's Hospital in Minneapolis.
And I remember asking, so if she has to have surgery, and he looks at me and he says, not if, but when. And I was like, whoa, okay, everything just changed.
Brooklyn was taken by ambulance and admitted to the NICU, the biggest baby in the unit by far, preparing for surgery in a couple of days. Laura had to stay back to recover from giving birth.
But I remember looking at Brett, and he said, wait, you guys are gonna take Brooklyn and Laura's staying here?
I don't think dads are ever ready to be the sole caretaker of a child. And when they said Laura couldn't go to the hospital, that was like, okay, this is big boy time.
It was during their time at Children's they discovered the Ronald McDonald House inside the hospital, a place they'd frequent for a quick shower or a warm meal, and for a brief break as they awaited Brooklyn's surgery.
It was like a hotel, like the most comfortable hotel. So it was just the most amazing thing ever. So yes, we utilized that every afternoon.
All along, they were told Brooklyn's tumor would be benign. Doctors said in cases like hers, they almost always were.
In our head, it's a benign tumor. We're gonna have surgery, and then we're like moving on with our lives.
So 3 days after Brooklyn was born, she was about to be placed in a bassinet and wheeled away to the operating room.
I remember the anesthesiologist was like, no, she's like, you know what, no, and just like picks her up and like carries her into surgery. Like it's like the most amazing thing. So I watched her go away, but like she's holding my baby, you know, so.
After a successful surgery, life would change again the next day, when a woman walked in and introduced herself as an oncologist, a doctor specializing in diagnosing and treating cancer.
It's kind of one of those experiences where you're up here, the bird's eye. I can like see it from all angles in the room. I remember where I was. I remember watching it. Like, it's just one of those crazy things. And I do remember our nurse, who was amazing, but I remember her face changed.
Well, she essentially said, Brooklyn has cancer. And it was like, whoa, you know, and this is the tough thing about, because I think, maybe I'm just this way, but I think guys try to fix things and try to have a plan and control over everything, and I think it was very humbling to not have any control.
I still didn't understand until she used the word, I don't know if we should be doing chemotherapy now or later, and it was like, whoa, wait, what? My four-day-old chemotherapy? Like, what are we talking about?
Test results showed 5% of Brooklyn's tumor was cancerous. Their time at the Ronald McDonald House went from one being filled with so much hope to time filled with pain.
I couldn't look at anyone. You know, the people serving you are looking at you, and it's like, you can't even look. And I just remember looking at my plate of spaghetti. It was spaghetti, and it was just warm tears and just trying to eat, and just like, it's just the worst.
I mean, you're in this room with 25, 30, 50 other people. You have no clue who they are, and they're not really in the mood to talk, and neither are you, but you just sort of sit in this room. It was really powerful to be in that environment, going through that, and knowing that other families are going through equally trying times that weren't planned, we're not wired to be prepared for. And
it's like the best and the worst place on earth. You don't want anyone to go through it, but it's just such ups and downs.
Brooklyn went home for the first time the next day, but she would be back for a battery of tests over the next few weeks. A CAT scan confirmed her cancer didn't spread anywhere else in her body, but doctors thought it would still develop. Chemotherapy is usually recommended for such cancers. Surgery, never usually enough to get it all in a child.
It's kind of not one of those, if it returns, but when it returns.
Doctors told the Hyders to expect Brooklyn's cancer to be back by the time she turned a year old. But as a team, they decided to wait on chemotherapy as her blood work continued to look good. Brooklyn would go in every few weeks, an agonizing test in patience and in faith.
Pray for a miracle and pray. And I mean, we had people praying. The numbers kept getting better and better. And I remember even Dr. Chu was just like, like this is kind of amazing. Like what's happening, you know?
And when Brooklyn celebrated her first-year birthday, that day meant even more.
Oh, we had a party, like everyone. I was like, it hasn't returned. Like it hasn't returned. So it was like literally we experienced a miracle.
Brooklyn has become just the second documented case of such a thing happening, this cancer not returning. Now pediatric oncologists are reconsidering their chemotherapy recommendations based on Brooklyn's outcome. She is now a spunky 5-year-old, growing up alongside 2 brothers, not wasting the gift she's been given.
Do you know what else I heard about you? I heard that you're very strong and you have big muscles. Can you show me? Can you hold them? Oh my gosh! Do you lift weights? Seriously? That is unbelievable. I am so jealous.
I mean, she's just this athletic, social little thing. And I mean, she would love to like jump in puddles in the mud, but in a dress, you know, with earrings on and lip gloss.
Do you know, Brooklyn, what you want to be when you grow up?
A mama.
The Hyders have made sure she knows the Ronald McDonald House is a part of her story. They're back as a family to serve food to other families in the middle of their own fights each spring. Did you spend time in the NICU?
I always tell them to try to explain it. It's like when you make food for others, especially when they're in need, it hugs the heart on the way to the belly. Like it's meeting an emotional and a physical need.
You know, I even think of just simple biblical principles. You start with physical needs before you can ever take care of someone's spiritual and emotional needs, and that's exactly what Ronald McDonald House did for us. Come in, free food. And I didn't know that there was going to be kind of that healing component with it too.